Hello, hello. My name is Abby.
Hello.
Her name is Anna.
Can you hear
Together
us?
we're Abby and Anna. Yes. Oh my gosh, I heard myself back. Was that real? Yes. Hello? Hi everyone. It's 1 o'clock here at IC Radio and I'm Abby.
And I'm Anna.
Before he said Q.
Oh yeah. We can't hear you. What
Yeah,
do
but
you-
throughout the menu clip you're fine to keep us on.
I mean, okay, wait. I'll comment. I'll tell you.
It should come through the speakers. Yeah. Hi everyone, it's 1 o'clock here at IC Radio and I'm Abby.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back to Science at 1, where we bring you the best science news, gossip, and analysis.
And the best music. On our playlist today we have some trending pop, some rock, some classical music.
Today we have Angus, who is going to talk about his research about student loneliness during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And we also have me as a contributor talking about an unlikely contributor to sports performance and more surprises coming soon.
We're also going to chat with Sophia about some controversial habits we all have.
And then we have yourself, Anna, discussing virtual interviews and how to make a good impression on Zoom.
And on topic of digitation, for the last piece, we also have Layla joining us about inclusiveness in science communication in a digital age.
They couldn't cope with the car park because they could not cope with the app, setting up the app on their phone, plus the fact that there's criminals who have targeted people that I actually know, pretended to help them using the app, and then taken their credit card details from the phone as they're helping them. And also people booking GP appointments. I mean, I've worked out how to do it, but there's a lot of people who cannot do it online.
That's all between now and 2 here on Science at 1.
Maybe to give them a little bit more time, you can say, yeah, and Layla will come and talk about this later. And that's all between now and Science at 1, because I feel like they don't have enough time to switch to the...
Oh, wait, I have a question. Are you going to present the first track, or should I go for it? Because it says presenter 2. It's all between now and 2 here on Science at 1. And then I can say, and now coming up we have music, track 1, Golden Hour by JVKE.
Are we going to say, and you can get in touch with us?
Oh, yeah, you can say that.
I can say that, and then you can say the music.
And now music.
Yeah.
So I think we might just try that again once more.
Yeah.
Abby, I think you're right, but Anna, you might just want to speak a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start that again. All right. Hold. Mic's alive.
Hi everyone, it's 1 o'clock here at IC Radio, and I'm Abby.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back to Science at 1, where we bring you the best science news, gossip, and analysis.
And the best music. Today on our playlist we have some trending pop, some rock, and some classical music.
Today we have Angus, who is going to talk about his research about student loneliness during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And I'll be talking about an unlikely contributor to improving sports performance, and more surprises on that coming soon.
We're also going to chat with Sophia about some controversial habits we all have.
And then yourself, Anna, will be discussing virtual interviews and how to make a good impression on Zoom.
And on topic of digitation, for the last piece, we also have Layla joining us about the inclusiveness in science communication in a digital age.
Car park because they could not cope with the app, setting up the app on their phone, plus the fact that there's criminals who have targeted people that I actually know, pretended to help them using the app, and then taken their credit card details from the phone as they're helping them. And also people booking GP appointments. I mean, I've worked out how to do it, but there's a lot of people who cannot do it online.
That's all between now and 2 here on Science at 1.
And you can get in touch with us. And you can get in touch with us via Science at 1. Our email is scienceat1@gmail. That's 9 written as a number. So that's science19@gmail.com.
And coming up now, music, Golden Hour by JVKE. That's a weird name to pronounce.
Is that right? I think it's Jake, but then it's just spelled.
Oh, is it Jake? Was my mic okay now? Okay.
So just after the menu is the first thing I say is you can get in touch with us. Is that okay? Oh, okay. Keep it cool. Okay.
Should I say that again?
It's 1 o'clock here at IC Radio, and I'm Abby.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back to Science at 1, where we bring you the best science news, gossip, and analysis.
And the best music. Today on our playlist, we have some trending pop, some rock, and some classical music.
Today we have Angus, who's going to talk about his research about student loneliness during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And I'll be talking about an unlikely contributor to sports performance.
We're also going to chat with Sophia about some controversial habits we all have.
And then you yourself, Anna, will be discussing virtual interviews and how to make a good impression on Zoom.
And on topic of digitation, for the last piece, we also have Layla joining us about inclusiveness in science communication in a digital age.
They couldn't cope with the car park because they could not cope with the app, setting up the app on their phone, plus the fact that there's criminals who have targeted people that I actually know, pretended to help them using the app, and then taken their credit card details from the phone as they're helping them. And also people booking GP appointments. I mean, I've worked out how to do it, but there's a lot of people who cannot do it online.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. That's all between now and 2 here on Science at 1.
You can get in touch with us via our email, science19@gmail.com. That's 9 written as a number, so that's science19@gmail.com.
And now music, Golden Hour by JVKE, Jake.
It was just two lovers sitting in the car, listening to Blonde, falling for each other. Pink and orange skies, feeling super childish. No Donald Glover. Missed call from my mother, like, where you at tonight? Got no alibi. I was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my radiant beam in the night. I don't need no light to see you shine. It's your golden hour. You slow down time in your golden. We were just two lovers, feet up on the dash, driving nowhere fast, burning through the summer. Radio on blast, make the moment last. She got solar power, minutes feel like hours. She knew she was the baddest. Can you even imagine falling like I did? For the love of my life, she's got glow on her face, a glorious look in her eyes. My angel of light. I was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my radiant beam in the night. I don't need no light to see you shine.
That was Golden Hour by Jake. Our loyal fans know it's the second time we have his song in our show.
And that's Jake, spelt Jvke. But enough of that. Now time for some news. So the ice in Iceland is particularly ironic today because the country is preparing itself for a fire. Icelandic authorities have declared a state of emergency after a series of earthquakes, signaling that a volcano eruption is increasingly likely. An underground river of magma is moving towards the surface. The town directly above it, Grindavik, has been evacuated, and the tourist hotspots like the Blue Lagoon, which is famous for its geothermal spas, are now closed.
You can imagine the sun as a massive orange-yellow, hot-glowing ball of hydrogen and helium. But what did it look like when it was born? The James Webb Telescope has given us a clue with an image of a star that is very similar to the sun coming into existence. You can't see the glow from the baby star itself because it's hidden within a dense spinning disk of gas and dust, but you can see pinky red jets shooting out in opposite directions, which denotes the presence of molecular hydrogen.
And now back to Earth. A species of ancient mammal called Echidna has been found not to be extinct, as previously thought. Aside from the duck-billed platypus, the Echidna is the only mammal that lays eggs, and they are thought to have emerged 2 million years ago, when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth. Until now, the only evidence of this species of Echidna existed was decades-old museum specimen of a dead animal, which was named after David Attenborough, who said he was absolutely delighted that his lost echidna had been found.
Researchers from Imperial College London have analyzed the bones and muscles in ancient fish to reveal that human shoulders may have evolved from them. A theory of the shoulder's origins is that it came from how fins formed in pairs on either side of the fish body, evolving into allow more control when swimming, and which eventually encouraged the move from water to land. A fish fossil from 407 million years ago is helping the researchers to find out how this fins formed. The results of this study have been published in Nature.
In other news from Imperial College London, £17 million has been awarded to Imperial researchers to lead 2 hubs to improve global access to vaccines in Asia and Africa. Currently, 1 in 5 infants across the world, that's 19.5 million children, do not have access to basic vaccines. Almost 1/3 of deaths among children under 5 could not be prevented through vaccination. But the distribution of vaccines is hampered in rural areas of low and middle income nations because of the costs of production and storage, as well as the increasing accessibility of vaccines generally. The hubs aim to improve the speed and efficacy of responses to viral outbreaks in the future.
It's starting to feel quite chilly outside, and we're gearing up for the winter break, but the last 12 months have actually been the Earth's hottest year on record. The average global temperature was 1.32 degrees centigrade, above the pre-industrial period of 1850 and 1900, and a quarter of people face dangerous levels of extreme heat. Researchers say that this is heavily influenced by climate change and hope to see the statistics from the last 12 months to raise awareness on the impact of climate change. Back to the music now. Here's cover of the Backstreet Boys by Everybody.
Oh my God, we're back again. Brothers, sisters, everybody sing. Gonna bring the flavor, show you how. Got a question for you, better answer now. Am I original? Yeah. Am I the only one? Yeah. Am I sexual? Yeah. Am I everything you need? You better rock your body now, everybody. Yeah. Rock your body. Yeah. Everybody. Rock your body right. Backstreet's Now throw your hands up in the air and wave them around like you just don't care. If you wanna party, let me hear you yell, 'cause we got it going on again. Am I original? Yeah. Am I the only one? Yeah. Am I sexual? Yeah. Am I everything you need? You better rock your body now, everybody. Yeah. Rock your body. Yeah. Everybody. Rock your body right. Backstreet's back. All right. Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Everybody, rock your body right. Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Everybody, rock your body right. Backstreet's back. All right.
Hello, and here we are in the studio with Angus, a real published scientist who is also our producer today.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks so much for having me. Switched from behind the desk into the studio again. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on board today.
So tell us how the project came to be that you want to talk about today.
So it was about 2 years ago now. I was finishing my final year at University of Sheffield, where I was studying human geography, and I was approached by my lecturer, Richard Phillips, who stated that he wanted to do a co-produced project which looked at student loneliness during the COVID-19 pandemic, because it was kind of very relevant at the time, and he saw a gap, and he wanted to explore it. He wanted a couple of junior researchers to help coordinate the project and kind of act as gatekeepers-ish towards more junior volunteers. So my classmate and I both volunteered ourselves and managed to get on board. And the kind of real benefit of getting us on board, I suppose, was that we could we have that peer-to-peer interaction that he was maybe lacking with certain other kind of junior members of the university.
Interesting. So what exactly is co-production for those of us who don't know?
So co-production is where all participants in a project kind of work together on the research issue. So you kind of try and get rid of kind of conventional hierarchical structures in traditional research. So kind of no one knowledge is privileged over the other, and they end up all producing the research together and kind of have co-ownership of it. So that means all viewpoints relevant to the project are considered, meaning that findings are much more representative than if it was solely conducted by one individual researcher, or researchers who are kind of adhering to one viewpoint or one philosophy.
Before we move on to more details about the research, actually, could you tell us a limitation? What could co-production have?
Wow.
Disadvantages of
Yeah. So I suppose a limit of co-production is, although it is more democratic, which is great, I suppose you sometimes do need that overarching voice or kind of guidance in order to reach a goal. It's kind of similar to actually some of the stuff we've been looking at recently in our science and social context module. It's if you've got a scientist there, do you want someone who's kind of asking everyone all the time what should be considered, or do you just want one person leading the same time? If you're a ship in a storm, do you want to have one person kind of managing it, or do you want to be asking everyone before you kind of reach the goal? I'm not sure if that's a fair analogy, but pros and cons for sure.
And can you expand on what that involved you doing, the co-production process?
So, I had to coordinate the actions of the volunteer researchers. So I think there was about 16 of them. and just ensure that they were managing to conduct their interviews, because that was the kind of the main bulk of primary research was conducting interviews followed by analysis. So all the junior researchers were getting on board maybe 3 or 4 interviews each. So we ended up with around 80 interviews. So, I had to coordinate them. I had to conduct interview training sessions with them. I had to do my own interviews. So that was really the data collection aspect of it. But following that, I had to compile all the data, do qualitative data analysis, and also read the literature surrounding the project. So it was real kind of management of the junior individuals, and just I suppose dog's bodywork, assistance where assistance was needed.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all know that research doesn't always go as planned. So did the project take any unexpected turns?
Yeah, definitely. Several, which really ended up benefiting the project. So some of the interviewees and volunteers insisted on using objects to illustrate their feelings at that time. Now that was kind of completely uncoordinated on our part, but it ended up being an occurring theme that people were talking about these objects and items that were significant to them. And so what we ended up doing was encouraging all interviewees to nominate an object for them that was significant or representative of their experience during COVID-19. And we had a manner of different objects with kind of different metaphorical or practical meanings. So, someone gave a screwdriver and they said it, they had a lot of time in the house where they could mend chairs and mend tables and do that sort of stuff. But actually it gave them a lot of moment for self-maintenance and self-care that they didn't really realise they needed until they were locked up in their home. A lot of these objects that really illustrated creativity, problem solving, and a willingness to better their own situations. So that was really insightful and interesting. And the lead researcher, Richard, he was also aware of the London Science Museum's COVID-19 work that they were doing. They always kind of documenting science and medicinal phenomena. And COVID-19 was so present at the time, and I think it is going to be so present for such a long time, that they were also trying to document that. So he got in touch with the Keeper of Medicine, Natasha McEnroe, to see if there was any potential to, collaborate on this project. Natasha was really interested in these objects and asked if they could be included in the Science Museum's COVID-19 collection. I think it's called Collecting COVID, and that's now happened. So that's great to know that the objects we collected are now part of this exhibition in the Science Museum. And we also recorded the interviews. We wrote down the interviews in notebooks, just with scribbly old biro pens, and this really helped emphasise the individuality of each interviewer, rather than just kind of writing on a laptop or something like that, where there's kind of a lack of humanity in the work. These are kind of old notebooks. Some of them got coffee stains, some of them are a bit ripped, but they all have everyone's individual writing, and that really added some humanity to the project. And these notebooks were also part of the permanent collection. And I suppose one kind of practical benefit of the project in the moment was, we weren't allowed to have in-person lectures, so some of us had been peers for a whole year and never actually met up with each other. And some people, never had their mics on during lectures, so I didn't even know what any of these people looked like. So that was really good, get to kind of meet people in person, and that, I suppose, became kind of self-referential of the project as a whole. That we were meeting in person, and we were kind of forming these connections that you couldn't have had otherwise.
Wow, that sounds like such a nice thing to be part of, like a very personal thing. Like,
yeah.
What advice do you have if somebody wants to be involved in kind of research like this?
So I was relatively lucky in that I kind of stumbled upon the opportunity. This was something going on, and I kind of heard about it, and I asked to get involved. But I think my advice to everyone would just be, keep your eyes and ears open, and be checking out stuff on, LinkedIn or Twitter, or, messaging old lecturers or current lecturers or people you admire, and just seeing if there's any way you can get involved. Also, I think find your niche and just really exploit that. We are all, all individuals with individual interests and individual talents, and I think at this moment in time, just really find what you are capable of doing that you don't think anybody, else around you can do, and just really latch onto that and exploit that and use that in whatever way you can, because if you're passionate about it, then you'll be good at it. And also just consider some co-production in your research. It gives you really good opportunity to kind of interact with people you wouldn't normally do, and also kind of create a more rounded viewpoint, and stronger communication for your project afterwards.
All right, thank you, Angus. That was very interesting and inspiring in the end as well,
Thank
and
you for
also very
having me.
relevant because most of our listeners are students, and I think they would be interested in finding more about this research. And now, track 3, we have Super Lonely by Bene.
I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser, shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, yeah. Water pouring down from the ceiling. I knew this would happen, still hard to believe it. Maybe I'm dramatic, I don't wanna seem it, I don't wanna panic. I'm a sad girl in this big world, it's a mad world. All of my friends know it's heaven, you're a bad thing. I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser, shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, La, 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 lonely. I'm a lonely bitch. La, 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 lonely. Super lonely. Now I'm in the bathtub crying, think I'm slowly sinking. Bubbles in my eyes now, maybe I'm just dreaming. Now I'm in the sad club, just trying to get a back up. I'm a sad girl in this big world, it's a mad world. All of my friends know it's happened, you're a bad thing. I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser, shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, La, 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 lonely. I'm a lonely bitch. La, 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 lonely. Super lonely.
I loathe romancing in itself, yeah, I'd be damned to try. I'm only dancing by myself, so I don't slam my Irish bar. Compostable cups, put up in it. I can't stress this enough. I would hate to mess things up, but my boogie still stays restless as fuck.
I know I
Yeah.
fucked up, I'm just a loser, shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, yeah. La, 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 lonely. I'm a lonely bitch. La, 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 lonely. Super lonely. I've been lonely, I've been lonely. I've been lonely by the way. La, 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 lonely. I've been lonely.
Are any of you listening athletes? If you are, you might want to consider going to the dentist. The health of elite athletes is under a lot of microscopic examination to optimize sports performances, not just by the athletes themselves and not just by sports doctors, but also by oral health researchers. A study of 278 athletes in the London 2012 Olympics found that 75% of the athletes had gum health issues, 40% had dental erosions, and 55% had dental cavities. And this actually has a big snowball effect on the athlete's sports performance. Oral health issues can have impacts on training schedules if you have to take the time off, and the pain can be quite debilitating. And actually having chronic oral health issues can have long-term impacts on the quality of your training. And if you're an elite athlete, you do consider these things.
Wow, this is such a random connection. So, why do athletes have bad teeth? It seems strange. Why would athletes be more likely to have issues such as tooth decay and acid erosion?
So it's likely that athletes consume a lot of carbs and sugars and take like sports nutrition products like sports drinks and energy bars and gels, and obviously these are very acidic. But and another contributing factor could be that a lot of people are not aware of this being a health risk in athletes, so they won't be taking the preventative measures. And on top of this, because athletes are spending a lot of time being dehydrated, they're going to have kind of a dry mouth with not a lot of saliva, which seems kind of silly, like not having a lot of saliva, but in combination with all the sugary drinks that they're having, this creates this vigorous cycle of like tooth decay can thrive under. And all of this together can kind of help connect the dots in the pattern that make athletes more prone to things like tooth decay and acid erosion.
So, do athletes just not look after their teeth well?
Well, no, actually, athletes do better than the general public when it comes to this. One study published at the British Dental Health Journal showed that 94% of athletes brush their teeth twice a day, and only 75% of the general public brush their teeth twice a day. So they are actually better at the twice a day brushing.
That's a surprising statistic. But do athletes remember to floss?
Yes, they're also better at flossing than the general public too. In the same study, it found that 44% of athletes floss and only 21% of the general public floss. So here's our little PSA: if you are an athlete or know any athletes, that you should tell them to go to the dentist, because their teeth health might be affecting their sports performance in secretive ways. And yeah, if you're now thinking about your own dental habits, keep that in mind for our next section. But for now, we have music by it's called Seven Beauties by Garayev.
So this was Seven Beauties by Gara Garayev. And now, speaking of brushing your teeth, have you ever wondered if it's better to brush your teeth before or after breakfast? And that's the question that Sophia's going to talk about.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm the science correspondent here at Science at One. And yeah, so I think we'll just dive straight in. Do you brush your teeth before or after breakfast? Abby, what do you do?
Well, I strongly believe that I should brush my teeth before breakfast because I know people don't like brushing their teeth after breakfast because then they feel like they have a minty taste in their mouth or whatever, but I don't want my bad breath to mix with the taste of my breakfast. So as soon as I wake up, brush my teeth, definitely. That's me. What about you, Anna?
Well, when I wake up and do my morning routine, it definitely involves brushing my teeth, so I would say before breakfast. Sometimes I don't even have breakfast, so is there a scientific reason how I should plan it?
Yeah, so as Abby mentioned, there are lots of people that prefer to brush their teeth after breakfast because they don't want the minty taste mixing with their orange juice or anything like that. And it is fine to do either, but most dentists recommend that you brush your teeth before breakfast. So we're all kind of in the right here because I brush my teeth before breakfast every day. But many people, if you do brush your teeth after breakfast, that's okay, but many people do it wrong. So the key is to leave a gap in between eating and brushing your teeth. So when you eat breakfast, your mouth becomes acidic. So what you're doing when you brush your teeth straight after breakfast is brushing your acid into the tooth, and this wears away the enamel and can cause damage. So this is why many dentists just recommend brushing your teeth before breakfast. But it is something that I think divides people, and maybe that we don't talk about it so much. So I went to stay with my friend in Amsterdam last year, and before we went out, after breakfast, he was like, "Oh, well, you're not going to brush your teeth," but I'd already done it right when I woke up. And it turns out that he's just been bringing his toothbrush and toothpaste into work, even if he has breakfast at work, just because he so strongly believed that he had to brush his teeth after breakfast. And this is when we decided to look it up and realised that we were both right, but he would be wrong if he was brushing his teeth straight after eating breakfast, which I think he did do quite a few times.
Oh, interesting. So it's more about the timing of it rather than it being before and after. Timing of it in relation to food, as long as you have some time where the toothpaste can just like sit in your mouth.
I think more the point is that once you've eaten, there is acid there. So if you brush your teeth right before having breakfast, that's not so bad. But I think most people just don't do that right before having breakfast anyway, because the minty taste just doesn't taste good with breakfast foods.
Okay.
So we'll move on to our next question. Speaking of sort of these sort of hygiene habits, do you shower in the morning or in the evening? Anna, what do you think?
Well, as I said already, my morning routine involves brushing my teeth and sometimes having a shower, but most of the times I shower before I go to bed because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do it in the morning, but also because I would rather my bed sheets be clean and shower before I go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember you were talking about bed bugs on the show a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, I don't think showering really has an impact on bed bugs, but if you want to feel clean before you go to bed and less bed bugs, I guess maybe that's good for a feeling of cleanliness. How about you, Abby?
So this is what I believe. I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you what I do. So I think if you shower in the morning, you're showering for the world. And then if you shower at night, you're showering for yourself, because at night you're just keeping your bed clean, but then in the morning, then you're showering to like smell nice.
So
for
morning
everyone.
Shower people are just fakes.
Morning showers are just people pleasers, and people who shower at night live for themselves.
Selfish.
But I mix it up. I do whatever.
That's quite a poetic way of putting it. I think I prefer to shower in the evening, especially if I've got to get up early the next morning. I give myself a little bit of a lie-in. I just like to keep my bed sheets clean. I mean, obviously I clean my bed sheets quite regularly, but it's nice to have the clean feeling for longer. So scientifically, I mean, it probably won't surprise anyone, but there isn't actually a correct answer for this. But sleep experts do say that whether you shower in the morning or the night should really depend on whether you struggle to wake up in the morning or if you struggle to get to sleep at night. So if you shower with cool water in the morning, it can boost alertness and it can really help if you struggle to wake up in the morning. But if you struggle with insomnia, then showering at night could actually help. So the body, I didn't know this before I started sort of researching into sleep, but the body actually naturally cools down as bedtime approaches. And showering with warm water, it sort of raises your body temperature again and just encourages your body to then cool down a bit faster. And then that seems to make sleep a bit easier. And also it can just ease your muscles and help you relax as well.
Oh wow, I didn't realise that we had like a temperature thing in our rhythms as well that affects. So that's good to know, I guess, is you just tailor it to whatever you struggle with. If you struggle with waking up early or if you struggle with sleep, that's what...
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we've talked about hygiene habits, but could we move on to foods and drinks, please? What can you tell us about that?
Well, this is quite a British question to ask, I suppose, but if you're making a cup of tea, should you put the milk in before or after you put the hot water and the tea bag in? So, Abby, I don't know if you're a tea drinker.
Yes, I am a tea drinker, and I feel like the science should back what I'm about to say up, but surely you should put in the tea and water first and then put in the milk, because then the tea can spread into the water, but then when there's milk it feels like the tea can't diffuse as well. That's what I think. So milk after.
How about you, Anna? Are you a tea drinker?
I am a tea drinker, but I'm not a milk tea drinker. It was quite a culture shock for me to come here and see people pour milk and ruin the tea flavor.
Yeah, when I go and I have some family in Germany, and when I went to stay with them, they brought milk especially for me to put in my tea because
because no one does that.
Yeah, because when they came to visit me in the UK, they were shocked as well. I think it is very specific to the UK. But then I suppose so if somebody went round your house and you were making a cup of tea for them, Anna, what would you, and they wanted milk, what would you do? Would you put the milk in first or the tea?
I would
in
definitely
first?
bring the milk to add it after the tea.
Okay. So I don't think many of our listeners, including me, will be happy with this answer, but scientists from the universities of Loughborough and the universities of Leeds have done a couple of separate studies, and they claim that you should put the milk in first. So putting the milk in after the boiling water causes the milk to heat more unevenly than if you pour the water on top of it. So this was some studies from Loughborough. And the uneven heating of the milk causes the proteins in it to denature. So this means that they lose their structure and they kind of clump together. And they say that this can affect the taste and also contribute to like a little skin that you may get on the top of a cup of tea. And then the University of Leeds, they were saying that, you know, additionally, if you add the milk at the start instead of at the end, then the proteins in the milk combine to the tannins in tea and minerals in the water. So tannins in tea is what gives it that kind of bitter flavour or the sort of the flavour, really. And I think tannins are in red wine as well, and it has that flavour profile. And the proteins can bind to the tannins, and then the tannins don't turn into solids, and the flavour is said to be much better. And especially with the water in London, so London has hard water, so it has calcium and magnesium in it, and then that additionally binds to the tannins, and it means that the flavour is a bit better. But even though I know this information, it still hasn't changed the way I make a cup of tea. I still put the milk in last.
It's so crazy to think about it, how science affects our daily lives and just habits that we don't even think about. But now I'll definitely think about that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the same as you. I don't think I will actually change how I'm going to drink my tea, but it is good to know if anybody wants to enhance the flavour profile of their tea, I guess. But yeah, so now we're reaching about midway on our programme today, and you're listening to IC Radio. This is Science at 1 with me, Abby.
And Anna.
And still to come, we have Anna telling us how to make a good impression on Zoom.
Yes, hello. So Abby, have you noticed that almost everyone giving virtual interviews and video conferences and Zoom events often have a plant or a bookshelf behind them?
Yes, and we'll listen more, we'll talk more about that later. And then later in our show we also have Layla coming in to talk about bridging the generation gap in this digitization uprise that's happening. But before all that, we've got a tune for you. I'm really not sure how to pronounce this one, but Arazbari by Uzair Hajat. Okay, somebody can tell me afterwards and I'll confirm it. But yeah, listen to it and then you can hear what it's called.
this was Aras Bari by Uzair Hajibeyov. And now we have Layla as a guest.
Yes, and Leila's going to talk about how we're going to be about issues in bridging the generation gap in our fast-evolving digital world. So yeah, Leila, what do you have to say about this?
Thank you guys for having me. So today I'll be shedding some light on a topic that's really important, yet it's really often overlooked in our discussions about technological advancement and science tech communication. So we've been talking about adapting to digital platforms like Zoom, but there's a whole segment of our society that finds these changes not just challenging, but sometimes overwhelming. But it's really interesting, this topic, because I genuinely never thought about this until I had my interview yesterday with this lady. So her name is Miss Julia, a 66-year-old librarian from Enfield yesterday. So I had my interview yesterday with her. And she shared a sincere perspective that really resonates with this issue. She said these words, oh my God. My demographic, so I'm coding her words here. My demographic, we feel that we're clinging on by our fingernails to the world. It's really easy to just read her words right now, but as she said it, I think I got little goosebumps. I could really feel her heartfelt concern when she said this. And these words powerfully capture the sense of struggle faced by many in her generation as they, try to navigate through the rapidly evolving world of technology and digital communication, a demographic that we often don't think about. So I would like to turn the mic to Miss Julia and kind of get an insight into what the interview was like, and you hear from her voice what her experience is.
My generation, there's a whole group of people that I know in my demographic, and we feel that we're clinging on by our fingernails to the world in some ways, and we get a lot of people who come to the council help desk at the library who are even less empowered than my friends and myself are, in that they have no mobile phone, they have no internet, then they're finding they're increasingly hampered by their lack of technology. But at least my friends and I, we do try and muddle through together. We're quite supportive, the sisterhood. We all support each other. If somebody works out how to do something, she'll come and show the rest of us. But we do find it very difficult, whenever we get a new phone or a new television or anything like that. We do find IT and technology quite difficult, although we're on top of cooking and ironing and using science in a more domestic way. We're fine with the stain removal. We're very good at all of that, knowing how to remove a stain. We're the people to ask. But anything to do with futuristic things or AI, that sort of thing, we find challenging.
Thank you so much for that insight. Honestly, from my background, I never knew that this was a struggle that a certain demographic has.
Oh, yes.
And this is very new to me because obviously I was born in 2001, so I was born into this. So you don't really...
Well, a brilliant example of this in our local community is that the car parks, the multi-storey car park, which is right next to the library, it used to be that you'd just go and pay with your credit card or you'd put money in the slot. Now you have to have an app on your phone, and this has caused enormous distress to people. And for a while, a lot of people weren't actually driving to the shops anymore because they couldn't cope with the car park, because they could not cope with the app, setting up the app on their phone, plus the fact that there's criminals who have targeted people that I actually know, pretended to help them, using the app, and then taken their credit card details from the phone as they're helping them. And also people booking GP appointments. I mean, I've worked out how to do it, but there's a lot of people who cannot do it online. And I know somebody in her 80s who cannot work her television properly. And when people become increasingly reliant on doing things from home, the computer has replaced what used to be just a phone chat. And so there are a lot of very needy people out there, but there are local organisations that are seeking to address this need. We have an over 50s forum in Enfield that actually has facilities to help people with IT, and Age Concern does as well. So it's not a hopeless thing. And we have volunteers in the library who will set up temporary emails for people so they can just do something straight away.
Yeah, thank you for listening to Miss Julia's heartfelt words. But yeah, her voice really is a reminder that technological progress doesn't impact everyone equally. And I think as future scientists, technologists, and communicators here in the department, it's our responsibility to bridge this gap and strive to make science and technology accessible and understandable for every generation. Okay, so I'm going to take the lead on introducing the next music. So next on we have Thoughts by Waqif Mustafazadeh. It's an Azerbaijani piece. Hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you so much, Layla, for introducing that song for us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
And Layla's had such a good time in the studio. She's just going to stick around for our last segment. So, Anna, what do you want to talk to us about?
Abby, Layla, have you noticed that almost everyone is giving virtual interviews lately in video conferences, and Zoom events often have a plant or a bookshelf behind them?
True. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it is a pattern I've noticed, but I've not really thought much further. Why is this?
Yeah.
It's more than just a random coincidence, actually, and has psychological implications behind it. But before we go there, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because there is a big rise in video conferencing and virtual interviews, especially after the pandemic. The long-term goal for future meetings and their participants is to be able to hold meetings anywhere, bridging geographical gaps and barriers. So it's great that we're moving to this virtual things and videos. It turns out you should position yourself in front of a bookshelf or a collection of houseplants and smile. So that's a hot take from scientists on how to navigate yourself and make a good impression on video calls.
So is there any like study to back this up? So where did this come from?
Yeah, it is. It is a study done by Zoom, the company that's one of the biggest ones that gives video conferences. And the researchers showed that 167 volunteers still images mocked up to look like people on video calls. Each one showed a man or woman either smiling or with a neutral expression in front of a background featuring a living space, a blurred living space, a houseplant, a bookcase, a blank wall, or novelty image of walrus lying on an iceberg. The volunteers were then asked to rate how incompetent or competent and trustworthy they perceived each person to be. Those with houseplants and bookcases visible in the background were rated as the most competent and trustworthy, with blurred or blank backgrounds coming in middling and regular living spaces. They were doomed to be more untrustworthy. Notably, the blank backgrounds scored slightly lower than blurred backgrounds for trustworthiness, but slightly higher for competence, which is doesn't have any explanation. I guess it just has some kind of psychological implications. People with happy expressions were also perceived as more competent and trustworthy. Additionally, females, shown those with a living space background, were perceived as no less trustworthy than those with houseplants or bookcases. That's good to hear for us as women. This suggests that a living space visible in the background, such as bedroom or kitchen, is particularly damaging for men, as researchers say from Zoom.
Wow, okay, what stood out to me was how your background could have an impact on how trusting somebody on the other side of the Zoom call could be towards you. So this could actually have, like, this is very important for your first impressions in if you have a job interview on Zoom, and it could make a difference between whether you secure that job or not. Is that kind of the purposes of this research? Like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. And the team now plan to repeat the experiment using video footage to see if the same effects are seen after the pandemic. This is a very important discovery because the future of jobs is virtual conferencing. There is another study done by Zoom that discovered some really interesting numbers. For example, 90% agree of people that video conferencing makes meetings more efficient. 91% believe video conferencing improves clarity and helps them understand the discussion. 76% agree that they use video conferencing at least once a week, and 87% of remote workers feel more connected and engaged with their peers thanks to video conferencing. So that means that the future of work and employment is video conferencing. So we should really know how to make good impressions.
Yeah, that's so interesting because, like, looking back at COVID, I just saw it as like a really negative thing with like breakout rooms on Zoom and everything. But now this is suggesting like this is the future. We need to get used to it.
Yes, and it almost seemed like a dream because I remember that happening, but now it's actually part of your future and your career depends on it.
Yeah, okay, so that's really useful advice for us to take home. And just before we end today, do we have time for a final song called Mulberry Tree by Chingiz Sadihov?
Layla, you decided to stay after your contribution. Can you tell us what made you stay?
Firstly, obviously, energy, the cozy energy, good vibes that you guys are like radiating to me. But Abby's topic was quite the most intriguing to me, with the Dental Hygiene Association correlation with athletes.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I thought for me, I really enjoyed how many tips we got today. I feel like we learned, how to make a good impression on Zoom, different habits that we should be rethinking. What about you, Anna?
I think it was a very relevant topic to everyone, not just students or not just our listeners. Yeah, it was very on-topic conversations we had. That's all it is.
So thank you so much, guys, for letting me stay.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, everyone. So, yeah, I hope you all got something out of the show today, some habit you're going to change, some sort of advice, or also just insight on how to co-produce research, or also how to make this technological rise more inclusive
and accessible, yeah.
Thank you.